What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Arias in the Nation. And listen, we have some special guests on the channel today. You know them. Don't act like you don't know them. All right. Kyle and Alana from Enter the Chronic. Guys, thank you for taking the time out of your busy and hectic day to be on this channel for a little bit.
Thank
you know,
you.
of
You're very welcome, and it's our pleasure. And thank you so much for reaching out to us and wanting
course.
to build more of a community with the YouTube reactors.
Yeah. I feel like, we know everyone in this space. I
Mhm.
feel like I don't know, it's like a nice honestly, I know I'm gonna be going off on a lot of different tangents. So get
Good.
ready. I
Go
try
with
not to stay on one tangent, and I think that's what helps me communicate with my 5-year-old son is we are
it.
always
Right.
jumping on different subjects. Um, is that like I noticed that uh, a lot of our the people that watch us, right?
Mhm.
It's like this one big community, and we jump from like I'll see a lot of people I know over on your channel, on different channels. I'm like, guys, we're all part of this community. And it's just the metal community to me has
Yeah.
been so inviting, so loving,
Welcoming.
so welcoming. And I don't know about you guys, but I started my journey with metal. Symphonic metal wasn't my genre. It just was. It's not
Okay.
like I didn't know about it. I knew about it. I just knew I didn't know enough about it
Right.
to get into it. So
Of course, I get you.
it's. I was very surprised, and I said I fell in love with the fan base first, and then the
There you
music
go.
Yes.
after.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was like, oh wow. We checked out Nightwish was my first kind of introduction
Mhm.
to that
Same.
slippery slope,
Same. Yeah. It's a
right?
slippery slope.
And it was just so welcoming and inviting. I'm like, wow, this you don't the internet's not known for a welcoming, inviting place.
No
Right?
kidding, right?
And I'm like,
Yeah.
this
This
is
is
odd.
different.
This is like, okay, this is one big community. This is one big family,
You're
Absolutely.
right.
And it started with Nightwish. And I'm like, it's just so strange. Because US radio stations and stuff, I'm not a big fan of radio stations,
Right.
but
Me neither.
music on the radio is whatever. That's a whole thesis. We could just talk about that college course, right? but
Yeah.
um, but it's took me by surprise how amazing it was,
Well said.
and
Yeah.
knowing how much history these bands have had,
Rich history.
and I'm like, oh, this is it. So that's my introduction to Nightwish was very quick, and I fell straight down. Right,
Right.
never looking back. Actually, like I slipped down, and I'm like, holy crap, where am I? And it opened into the channel that I'm on, or that we're on now. But what
Right.
about you guys? What is your background with the music that we check out? Like, are you a
Hey, fair enough.
metalhead?
Yeah.
Yeah, how about you start with what you liked with music first?
Okay,
Yeah.
so actually, my introduction to music is I actually played a tuba in orchestral band,
Metal.
and I was in choir. So very,
Yeah.
very
Fuck
different
yeah.
than the metal that we know. And I had never really known much about metal. I kind of listened to new metal as a teenager,
Mhm.
got into a little bit of corn, just like a tiny bit. And it wasn't until this channel that I actually started getting into the massive genre that really is
Yeah.
in metal. And my introduction was with symphonic metal because I have an orchestral background. And
Oh,
yeah, I really like
okay.
what you said about how inviting the metal community is,
Yeah.
because in the orchestral community, it is actually not that inviting.
Yeah.
So it is amazing to come into the metal community and even the symphonic metal community and just seeing how like open everyone is for conversation, for dialogue, for like even expressing their joys of everything that is going on within
Mhm.
the music and even the history behind the music as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's crazy. Tuba, yeah. You know what's funny? We got I don't know if it was like a gag gift, but my son asked for like a tuba and a drum kit for like
Oh,
Christmas, and so he has one of those tuba things
nice.
and drum kits, and I'm like, you play whichever one in the garage when no one's home. You know what I mean?
When
I
Of
mean,
course.
no one's home.
someone's always home. I'm just saying. It's like
Soundproof
Oh
that
no.
it's,
garage, you know?
yeah, just soundproof the garage. I was like, dude, go at it, go at it. But that's cool. That's neat. But it's interesting how like how do I say this? every other genre I've encountered of music, right, has its like elitists.
You got that
Absolutely.
right.
But not so much the metal community that I feel like we've stumbled on. I
No.
haven't
Right.
seen one was like, well, let me tell you something. No, no, they're just
Facebook,
all,
but that's always elitist. But
yeah, true.
But you're
And
so right. Like the metal community itself has been the most inviting in my whole life. I actually
Absolutely.
started with metal myself, and that was the
okay,
only thing I kind of liked. So jumping into this channel, I actually started with kind of international music, like rap from Africa. Actually, was my first one I started with.
Asake, right?
Asake, yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
it. And so I started doing that. But then, like you said, it's like, let's try this symphonic metal because you can tell when you start the reaction channels that
Yep,
night has something special to them.
yep.
So then you dive into them. And then, like you say, you start falling for the fans and like the Nightwish army itself
Yes,
over the music itself first. But then the
yeah,
music's that great and it's
Yeah.
captured us. And like you said, it's a slippery slope and you just
yep.
keep going.
You don't know where you even are now. You're just like, at some point, I listened to them for the first time,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what happened. You just now it's for me. It's like
Absolutely.
6 months later, 7 months later. I'm like,
Wow.
that feels like years ago.
Yeah,
Years
Yeah.
it
ago.
does.
I think we started about a year and a half ago now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
going
man.
on. Yeah,
It goes by
it
fast.
goes by
It it
so
it
fast.
it really does. It really does. YouTube has it's crazy. It's crazy how much time that you guys spend, or that sorry, I'm going to say we because we're on this side of things usually.
Of course,
No.
yeah.
We spend behind the screen. That's
Oh my
not the
god.
reaction.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
after the reactions. That like the reaction's the best part of it all.
right. Of course
It's
it
the
is.
the getting stuff up, the editing, or if you guys edit, I don't have time for that, and I tell everyone, I'm like, we're not polished
I
here.
edit all myself.
That's awesome, man. I
It's
am
trying.
so jealous. I am
Oh,
so
okay.
jealous. I cannot, like,
Really? Okay.
yeah, there's parts where I'm just stuttering and I'm like, did I just have a stroke on the
Oh
screen?
no.
Like, like, that's in. We're leaving that in. It's more, I talk in ellipsis. Like, I talk in, like, the three dots. That's me
Right.
sometimes. But, so, Kyle, real quick, did
Yeah.
your background, did you grow up in enjoying metal? Like,
Yeah, Lincoln Park actually was
okay.
the first thing I loved, so I would call that metal. That was 2000, so I'm only 8 at that time. It was my first concert I ever went to as well. I went to many metal concerts in Canada growing up.
Oh, yeah.
So I liked a lot of the heavy metal stuff, but it's really the European metal and the international music that has now captured me because you already know
That's
all the North American stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And actually, I don't. I'm like new. I
Right.
started I started my my reaction channel based on I was like, okay, I'm going to start with the classics, classic rock, right?
Right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
not for a first time reaction, but it's going to be I wanted to see them live. I've never seen these old
Okay, yeah, yeah.
school classic rock
Me
bands
too. Yeah.
live. I've heard them
Mhm.
all my life on the radio, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've never seen these guys live. I couldn't pick them out from a crowd, and that's where
Right.
my journey started. And
Mhm.
then some of our subscribers from the other channels that I have, they're like, "Do some
Right.
Nightwish, do some Nightwish." I was like, "Fair enough." We
Okay.
had done one Nightwish reaction on my other channel, and that channel kind of stopped doing music. Like we stopped.
Okay.
It just wasn't.
Was it for
It
it?
it wasn't the channel wasn't liking music,
Right. It's
right?
fair enough.
The
Interesting.
the
Yeah.
Yep.
numbers were not
I
liking the
get that.
channel having music. So we're
Right.
like, okay, no more music. And I was like, oh man, well, we started our channel loving music, me and my buddy. And I was
Nice.
like, I'll carry the music reactions. I'll put them on my channel and we'll go forth. And one of our subscribers like, check out Nightwish again. And yeah, never look back. Never look back. And we're here, and there's so much stuff that I can't believe I never heard of that has
Mhm.
amazed me. That has
Yeah.
absolutely like, oh my god, who is this? And then you look at the history, or
Right.
actually, sometimes we're very privileged. All of us, the fans are like, they've been around since 1992. I'm like, what? They
When I was
have, yeah,
born?
what? Excuse me. This has been rocking that hard, like. Nightwish was so old. I'm not just talking about. We're not just going, guys. For guys listening,
I
we're
was
not
about to
just
say.
talking about Nightwish. All right, Nightwish was my first intro into this, and then everyone knows it goes from there.
There's a commonality of Nightwish and how
Absolutely.
it captures, but not everyone that does Nightwish it captures, or they keep going with it, right?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was so unique. It was such a unique sound
Yeah,
that
no,
that you don't get to hear every day. This is like pro level music. It's like I
yeah,
keep
you're right.
saying, like Nightwish and bands like Epica, who are
Yeah, oh
by
yeah.
Mhm.
I did a controversial video, to be honest, guys, and I
Let's
listed
hear it.
Let's
I
hear
listed my top 5, which you never
Did you?
do. I listed
Oh
my
my
top
god.
5,
it.
but I said influential to my channel. That I was like,
Oh,
these are the
nice.
top
Yeah.
5 bands that I've had on the channel that have led to so many different rabbit holes,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Like
Yep.
you discover one, like I discovered Nightwish, and from Nightwish I discovered Epica, like soon after, like
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
like
That's the
like
first thing they show you to
yep,
next.
yep,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then from Epica it just went crazy, and then I did some Love Bites. Love Bites opened the whole door
Yep.
to everything else,
It sure
and
does.
then you have like Sabaton and those bands, and
Yeah.
then it
Yeah.
just. But you know what's funny? Even lately, this is why I love. This is what I love. You never know the journey on your channel, and because at any
No, you
given
don't.
moment something could just take off, and it's always like linked. For me,
Yeah.
recently
Yeah.
I discovered Dimash, right? I
Yes.
Amazing
discovered
talent.
Phenomenal.
right. No one understands. It's not like I was looking for Dimash videos.
Right.
I, my discovery of Dimash is linked to Floor Jansen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
I went Floor Jansen. She sung Adagio. That's a
Okay.
Laura Fabian song, and from Laura Fabian, it was like, oh, go to Dimash,
Right.
and I'm like, it all leads back to
It does.
Nightwish.
Yes.
It sure
It
does,
all.
doesn't it?
It's like it
They're
all,
the Jesus.
yeah. And I'm like, man, if I had like a wall with like that crazy psychotic red yarn, like putting like pins,
Yeah.
it would all be
Everything go
Nightwish in the
back.
middle. It would be
And then
Nightwish
you
in the
have
middle.
like
Yeah.
Floor, who's married to the Sabaton drummer, and
Yeah.
then
See, it keeps on linking.
It's this cascading. It's all connected.
Well
You
said.
can't.
Oh,
It's absolutely crazy.
It
And
really
then
is. Well
have you
said.
guys found like Camelot and stuff like that?
yep.
Yeah, we love Camelot. Oh my
They're
gosh.
I mean, it's just endless, endless,
Mhm.
endless about the new music I'm finding. That the new
Right.
music I'm finding, but it's so old. It's like
Yes.
older music. I'm like, what? This could have
Like, why
changed my
was
life.
Well, I got a question then. What music were you into then before joining the
Oh,
channel?
well, okay. So before joining the channel, um, I don't know, living in the DC metro area. DC,
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
close to Washington DC, and I'm close to Baltimore. So I feel like my life is very go 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 already,
Right.
very
It seems like it.
busy mindset. So I
Yeah.
enjoyed the laid back stuff. I'm
Ooh,
already go go go.
nice.
So I needed the chill. So I did my first 2 albums I ever bought with my own money were Temptations' Greatest Hits and
Oh
Bob
wow.
Marley's Greatest Hits.
There you
Those,
Nice.
go then.
and I'm
Some
like,
relaxing times.
right? And
Yeah.
Motown and reggae. And from there I discovered bands like Sublime
Nice.
Yep.
and
Love
and
Sublime.
and I
Yeah.
just kind of went that route. It's just the chill, laid back,
Yeah.
because life is too busy anyway. But
It really is.
Absolutely.
then I was in the military 8 years now, right?
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
and then I just developed the love for Disturbed.
Oh,
And,
good
Yes.
pick.
and so
I could
so
pick.
I have I have Bob Marley, Disturbed, and Motown. It's like I am
Wow.
all of it. So I love music. I love what music can do. And so that's
Mhm.
I don't and honestly I love country music, which is crazy, right?
Country,
Yeah.
right on.
A lot of people in our community don't understand country, and I get that.
I
And I
love
get that.
country.
The older I get, the harder I rock with country, which is the
Really?
weirdest thing. It's just like
But
it's
that's
like it's simple. You don't have to break down the lyrics. You don't need a doctorate in music
yeah,
theory to get
yeah.
what they're saying. And I'm like, it's good. It's good. It's a good place.
I
You
think
know?
I'm in the same spaces where maybe you guys were with country because I love metal. I never touched country, but now
Yeah.
we're starting to get country on the channel. I'm like,
Mm,
why was I not listening to this? I need this relaxing a bit.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm a firm believer that these music genres and music comes into your life at the right time, whenever it
Mhm.
is, whether
No
it be
kidding.
late or perfect. Because
Right.
I know that if I stumbled onto some symphonic metal in
Back
2000,
then. Yeah.
I would already been shut off to it. I wasn't ready to
Mhm.
absorb it, you
That's fair
know?
enough.
And
Yeah, I think so too.
you have to be in the right headspace. You have to be in the right
Absolutely.
headspace to sit down and absorb it and look further into music genres,
Yes.
and or else it's kind of wasted. Like if you
Mhm.
have your go-to playlist to get stuff done around the house, it, and something else comes on, it doesn't hit. It
Doesn't
doesn't.
work.
It's
No.
like a speed bump, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
I'm happy that I found it when I did because I actually have time to appreciate it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're right, man.
You
You
know.
know, I sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, like with the country, I actually love country because when you're with the music I was brought up on like Shania Twain and classical music and a lot of that type of stuff. So for me, country has been like a lifeblood for me that then we don't really get a lot over here. Like I guess in Alberta you do because Alberta's like the Texas of Canada for the radio stations.
Okay.
But outside of that and the radio stations, it's a lot of rap is kind of the genres
Huh.
that are kind of taking over in Canada. But then going to the symphonic metal with the channel has been phenomenal.
And I
Oh
think
yeah.
I think what you said about Floor, I think Floor has opened so many people's ears to like what
Yes,
beautiful singing really is. And I
Yep.
think that's why the Demashes and like some of the like Forestella, if you ever check them out,
absolutely.
I
like
have not yet, but yeah.
which is a great quartet, but like that type of singing I never was into until a Floor and Taria and a Simona were like showing me what you can do with the
Absolutely.
metal, but then let's hear it outside of metal.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. See that
Right.
I needed the power behind the voice.
Yes.
Not like individual, but I needed the badass band or in Epica's case, or fucking orchestras.
The whole
You know?
shebang.
And
Yes.
and I'm like, "Oh, it can be used this way too."
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like I would say I this is how not knowledgeable I am, right? Of music and or genre, right?
Right.
I would describe it as like church music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
Like
yeah.
absolutely.
take the band away and have the
Mhm.
really talented singer belt out, and it's like that to me. I would just classify that's church music. But when you
And it's
have
like a worship style.
yeah,
I'm with you there. Yeah.
and then you add the badass band, I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, that's what it needed. It's a crazy mix.
Yes.
It's the
Uh,
best mix I've ever
yeah,
seen, to be honest.
Mhm.
and it just draws you in. And then once you get drawn in, the fans, all that stuff, they just show love and just
You
support. And
got
you're
that
like,
right.
I like this space.
It's
Yes.
the
You know,
safest space I've been in, and the Epicans really are one of
yeah.
my favorite fan groups. And that's actually why we call ourselves Chronicans,
Oh,
because of
okay.
how much we feel connected with them. We're
Nice.
even going to see Epica this year in
Yeah.
the Netherlands to go
Oh,
check out their cool symphonic synergy show. So like
oh,
you said,
is that the one where they have the orchestra behind them?
yeah,
Yeah, with the
yeah,
AFAS live.
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm so
yeah.
jealous. That's awesome.
But
That's
it's
so
like you
awesome.
said, because they blend it perfectly. And if you love metal, I think that's why a lot of people, when you first start with Nightwish, they're like, if you need it a bit harder, check out Epica,
That's exactly what it was. And
right?
honestly, since I didn't listen to like metal, heavy metal, thrash, whatever, I'm still kind of getting used to the genres of all
Mhm.
the different metal that's out there.
So
Um,
many.
Epica was the perfect stepping stone for me to appreciate
Absolutely.
harsher vocals
Good. Awesome.
because they use it very wisely in their
Very
Mhm.
wisely.
songs. And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, it's for effect. It's for effect. It's not the whole song screaming at
exactly.
you. It's enough for me to like, oh, okay, I can appreciate this. I understand what they're doing by using this voice,
Right.
this style, and it
Mhm.
opened my ears. It wasn't just what 90% of people in my neighborhood say, they're just screaming. you
Right.
know?
Of course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's more than that. And I've learned to appreciate that a lot more on this crazy journey. So,
You're on a crazy journey. You have 9 channels, don't
oh man,
you?
it's nuts. It's
Yeah.
absolutely nuts.
How do you
And you have a
manage?
5-year-old. How do you do this?
Barely,
Very-
barely. No, no. Well, I've had my I run a channel with my best friend called Embraces Tuck 21, and we've done
Okay.
that for 3.5 years. And whew, man, we cut our teeth with that. We started our reaction. We started our YouTube journey as
Right.
a as a weight loss channel, documenting weight
Nice.
loss to go do
Okay.
a like a Tough Mudder, which is like an obstacle course.
Oh, we didn't know that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love Tough Mudder.
Yeah,
So
I
cool.
yeah, I've done like 3, but
Send a
it's been a
picture.
while. It's been a while, right? Obviously. And so and then yeah, that hit it that fell on its face. Right? That
Okay.
whole journey on YouTube was like, yeah, that's not sustainable. Like it's
No.
ridiculous. So
Right,
then
right.
my wife said, "Why don't you check out how they make the churros from Taco Bell?" And so that was our first
Oh,
reaction video.
you
Is
got
that
that?
That's cool.
yeah, and then we found a Oasis, a band name,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Oasis,
Oasis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wonderwall, Champagne Supernova. They're more than that, but yeah.
Oh,
So we built our channel on the backbone of, uh, like Brit '90s rock,
wow.
and then it just took off, and yeah, that was our that's where our little plaque thing is from. Is that channel?
Okay. Congrats,
That's
man.
cool.
And then we switched that up, and we have a cultural type channel where we react to like different cultures, different countries, different things.
Cool.
So
That's
cool.
Embrace the Globe. And then I have a bunch of different things. I
Wow,
personally
man.
it's just I have a kids stories channel, which is nuts,
Oh,
because
amazing.
I was
I saw
using
Winnie
that
the Pooh or something, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Just
Yeah.
just sleep stories. I would always go on my phone and tell my son bedtime stories, and we
Oh,
would make custom ones using this new AI craziness. And so the
cool.
ones
That's
that we would
cool.
build together, I put on the channel, you
Wow.
know,
I love
and
that.
So cool.
As a
so
new dad, I love that,
yeah,
man. I would love
yeah.
to see that.
Yeah.
It's definitely check it out because I've told him all the stories. I've reimagined told him all the great bedtime stories like Jaws, Jurassic Park,
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
Independence
yes.
Day. But you mix it up,
Godfather.
You want to make sure they're
Godfather.
learning a
Yeah,
lesson
like
before bed.
lesson.
Yeah.
Snitches get stitches. Good night, son. Good night, son.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's
yeah.
great.
I
So
love it.
just
You're the best.
reimagine it, have fun with it. Sometimes I elaborate, whatever. You know what I mean? It's for a kid's imagination, and that's
Of
where
course.
Mhm.
I started that channel, and it just and most recently I started the it's kind of like a military ask reaction type channel, since
Nice.
that is sort of my
Part of
passion,
your
kind
life.
of that
Yeah.
Yeah.
part of my life, and I'm like, I don't really know too much about a lot of other things
Right.
about the military stuff like that. So I was like, let me just see how that goes. So there's a
That's
lot
so
of different
cool.
things. And then also I see you guys have Rumble. I'm proud of you guys for having a Rumble.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
How's
We
that?
don't we should be using it more. We started someone encouraged us when we started doing Tom McDonald, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
So that's
smart person. Whoever said that.
Yeah.
very smart, right? So we started that, and I think we should do it more because I know you use Rumble all the time for your lives,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh man.
Man.
It's like it's the wild west of platforms. It's like what
Yes, it
YouTube
is.
used to be.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
so less anxiety inducing. You just go to hit
No
upload and you're
kidding.
like, we're good.
We're
Like
fine.
that's
Fine.
fine. There you go.
Yeah. You're right.
But you have to bring your audience to the platform. There's
Yes.
Yes,
no
you do.
there's no organic growth on Rumble.
Yeah.
At least that's what
Very
from my
true.
experience. I tell everyone, if you're going to go to Rumble, have your blinders on, just go for the channel, that you're going to go visit, because there's wackadoos everywhere. There's crazy
That's
people
right.
everywhere. Keep your
Yeah.
blinders on, stick to the channel,
Yeah. No
and
kidding.
then, but I
Like
feel like
YouTube, I like that.
with what is it? With more with since we're going to be on YouTube on this interview, we'll be nice
Yep.
to it. But since some things are getting a little bit more strict,
You
right?
got
That's a
that
Yes.
very
right.
nice way of putting things.
Yes.
More creatives are leaving Rumble per se, or not Rumble, YouTube, and
Heading
jumping
to
to
Rumble.
Rumble.
Yes.
You know, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand there's a fine line of what we do. All an
There is
artist
a
has
fine
to
line.
do, all an artist has to do is switch labels or
Yeah.
You got
switch
that right.
management,
Yeah.
and then those reactions are gone.
Right.
Or if they go full Eagles on you, they
Yeah.
can destroy the channel.
They sure can. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like people
Playing with
don't,
fire a bit.
Yeah.
people don't get it's this whole thing can be, you know, we are playing with fire a lot of times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do it. I feel like people don't understand that if you're doing reactions to music, it's because you love doing reactions to music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's because it's not worth it any other way. You got to enjoy what you're watching.
It heals you. It heals us.
Yeah.
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 There's so much music that we have listened to from all over the world, from different countries everywhere. And the thing that about music for me that I love about it the most is music is a universal language. Because
Yes.
regardless if you are listening to something that's entirely instrumental or in another language that you don't understand, you can still get the soul aspect of the story of the music throughout it. And there's so many different ways that music can be interpreted with the story that's being told. And I know with our channel a lot, I tend to focus a lot on the story versus like, you know, the crazy guitar riff.
Yeah.
Because
More technical side is me.
or the technical side is more Kyle, whereas
Yeah.
I'm more like story and emotionally driven.
That's all. You guys have the perfect balance. You guys have the perfect balance.
Thank you.
You know, because to me sometimes it's very hard to like pretend the visuals don't exist and listen to the subtleties and
Right.
appreciate the skill behind the music.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then there's some where you have to appreciate what's happening in front of you.
Yeah,
With
I
the-
get you there.
And it's like you can only focus on a couple things, and that's why I love what we do. It's like, you know, we could be watching the same video
Yeah.
and we pull away two different freaking things, or we see
Absolutely.
different
All the
things.
time.
All
And
the
that's
time.
and I love that because it's just music is what you just said it. It's like a not
The universal language
Yeah.
of the world.
Yep. And art to you is different than art to me. It's like
Mhm.
we see things a little bit differently, you know?
Well, that's why you go to a museum with people, right? You go look
Yeah.
at a painting and let's see what you see and let's interpret it this way and let's interpret it that way.
Yeah. I sometimes I'm like, there's a time and place for an art museum. I don't belong. I tell people, if you see me at an art museum, it must be
What happened?
raining outside. It must be raining outside, and I must be really close to the door. Right? Because I'm not ready to be like, what do you really see? And I'm like, oh, bro, I see the bathroom.
I see red curtains.
I
They
see
are
red curtains. Yeah.
I have a question because you brought up like the pain that you have been experiencing with going live with music reactions itself, because I'm sure going live on YouTube is a little easier, but once you throw in the music, that's when it gets a little trickier. I notice a lot of people try Twitch. Some people are trying Rumble. Have you tried both, or like what do you like more about Rumble?
I did. So let me just be fully transparent here, because
Please.
all right. I tried to upload the End of an Era concert, right? And I
Yes.
tried to have that as a premiere.
Okay.
That blocked. Then I was like, well, I've never had an issue with anything Nightwish, period.
Yeah.
Ever. Be it full concert, be it reaction. I've never experienced any pushback from Nightwish or who is it? Nuclear Blast?
Nuclear
Napalm.
Blast, yeah.
Nuclear Blast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is odd. So I basically streamed it from Rumble, attached YouTube, connected my
Okay.
YouTube to it, and I'm like, listen, if this gets blocked on YouTube, head over to Rumble and you can see it.
Right. And
You can have
still see it.
a dual stream.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, so that's I've never, I try not to play I never try to do anything like live. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, it
Well,
does.
because
Yeah.
I live out in the semi-country and my Wi-Fi is trash. Like,
Okay.
anytime the wind blows, I'm like, if there's something to depend on, it's not my internet connection. Right?
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm like, I won't try to do anything live or live reaction, but I'll go live. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
So anytime, let's say you see a premiere or something like that, it's already obviously like pre-recorded, and that's kind of where
Yeah.
I leave it at that. I see a lot of other people try to do like live reactions, and I
Yeah.
feel like I'm too scatterbrained that I would get too lost in people's comments that I
Okay. Yeah.
would
Yeah.
miss
Mhm.
a lot on the video.
I think that's true. We only one time have been able to do a whole concert from start to finish, and it happened to be the Epica Omega. So we're very lucky.
Oh
We were
yeah,
talking a bunch. We had a lot of wine, so there's a lot of
Yes.
talk in between, and maybe that's the only thing that helped us. But
yeah,
but I'm with you.
yeah.
I've tried actually going live. I think which one was it? It was From Wishes to Eternity. From Nightwish
Yeah,
is
and it was
Uh-huh.
actually the
like
last time we went live,
Yep,
and it did the same thing for you. And since
yep.
then, we're just trying to think how to do more
Well,
live reactions.
Well, for me, I always do like a premiere. Like I
yeah.
was like, I'll
Yeah,
record, and that way I can
just
ask the
something.
questions. I can
Yeah.
ask in the within the chat, because everyone, honestly, the most knowledgeable people of these bands that we have on our channels
They're at the
are the
fans.
You
are the
got that right.
fans.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
that right.
It's like, did you know this guy's guitar tuner is the roommate
Yeah.
of this person's aunt who solves their
What?
reactions? You're like, what are you talking about, man?
But thank
Like,
you.
thanks. You know?
I love how you say that, because we've actually done a lot of we've done reactions to documentaries and things like that, and we've literally had during a documentary some of the band members be like, I didn't even know this happened, but the fans told me, so I guess it's happening.
I love that. I love that. It's amazing. I'm like, how do you guys know so much? I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome that
Mhm.
they know that
It's
much.
awesome.
Because in order for us on this side of things to like find that out,
Yeah.
that's days, hours,
And to
weeks.
retain
Days,
it.
and to
Oh
retain it.
man,
Oh.
man, it's nuts. It's nuts. But I love it. I feel like we're part of something so much bigger than the bands we're checking out. We're part of
I
Yeah,
the
agree.
community, which is huge.
absolutely.
It
Um,
is.
out of all the okay, all right. I'm not going to ask you for your top five. Don't worry. I'm not gonna do that. We're not
You can
gonna.
do whatever you like.
Do
All right.
whatever you
Well, look,
like.
check this out. What has been the a band that has completely surprised you aside from your first like Nightwish and stuff? When you're like, I think I got them pegged down, and then they throw something, and you're like,
Ooh.
whoa, what is that?
Vector.
Okay,
Yes.
really?
Vector.
Vector.
All right.
So Vector is extremely heavy metal,
Mhm.
like extremely heavy metal. And we have recently been listening to the entire album of their Terminal Redux. And it's been phenomenal. They have the story on it just is really Star Trek. It's like crazy story wise. But they're able to go from like extreme, crazy, harsh vocals with these technical riffs that are just going on forever and giving you complete chaos in your
Yeah.
mind to full ballad, clean vocals, whispered, nothing,
What?
perfect transition, and it's a 4-piece.
Wow.
And
So it
from
just like
America
pulls
too.
pulls the
Yeah,
emergency brake up. They're like,
just
and
full
switch.
emergency brake, 4 donuts in the parking lot,
What
no
the
more
hell?
tires, they're just good
That's
to go.
that's crazy, man. Oh
Yeah,
So
no,
that's probably for you.
yeah, for me.
That's for me because Vector sounds so similar to a lot of the bands I reacted
Mhm.
to
okay.
or listened to growing up. And honestly, I have to say Forestella
Really?
or some of like Love Bites and Baby Metal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those have really shook me up the most because I didn't know what Japanese metal was or anything like that. And that's just ballistic. But
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
as you enjoy,
yeah.
but Forestella itself is imagine 4 Damashes together.
On stage.
That's impossible. How does the world still exist?
It's I don't actually know.
I don't know.
That's nuts, man.
It's like
That's
4
nuts.
Damashes singing Michael Jackson. Like, here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's next
Yeah.
level for us.
Sign me up. That's crazy.
Does that
Um
answer your question?
yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's good. I because I think for me, one of my absolute out of the blue, I went rogue and I chose a video. I was like, this looks like a
Just go
band.
for it.
And I stumbled upon Electric Callboy. And
Ooh,
Ooh,
that
yes.
that's
changed my
hilarious.
life. That
Right.
Yes.
like
Comedic good
yeah,
music.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, they
Yeah.
got it. I was like, for me, I was like, they epitomize if I were a band if I had a spirit animal band, that would be
Absolutely,
them.
man.
That would be them.
You're right.
Because you got to have fun with music. You got to take
Yeah.
music seriously, but not yourself too seriously.
You
Yeah.
got
And that's
yeah.
it. And it's just like bros
Absolutely.
being guys.
No
Like,
kidding,
Yeah.
man.
it's
We
like,
gotta get
okay.
back to them.
Yeah, we have to
Yeah,
get back to Electric Callboy. They're amazing.
And so that's probably been my gem that I found that I wasn't expecting. Like,
Nice.
I don't know how you guys. All right, so let me ask this first: how do you guys choose what you guys are going to react to?
Oh, good
Oh.
question. So we actually have membership options itself.
Okay.
That's
Oh, okay.
some of them that we do. We also go with the algorithm, what's working with the channel.
Okay.
We sometimes make polls on our community
Yes.
posts, so then they can
Yeah.
kind of interact that way. Also, just listening to people during premieres, and then they tell you about something new. We have Discord,
Yeah.
so we have just conversation itself.
We have a reaction suggestion video that we can't promise we'll get to these, but like if you have something that you want us to possibly check out if we have some extra time in a month,
Yeah.
then we can kind of pull from that as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities to kind of get reactions.
Yep. It's never like there's never any quiet time once you start.
No.
And sometimes it's like, how do you prioritize? And that's it's impossible. That's why I personally hit a burnout because I
Okay.
was putting like 6 videos out a day
Yeah.
That's a
for
lot.
3 months.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Wow.
I'm because we explored so many different rabbit holes
Yeah.
that we almost, I don't want to say, like we segmented, we broke up our subscriber base, like our people, right?
Yeah.
I
One
get
was
ya.
this camp, one was this
Yep.
camp, one was this camp, and I'm like, okay, we have to appease all of them, and that was just
So
that
hard.
was
So
nuts.
hard to
That
do,
was
man.
nuts. I was nuts.
Yeah.
So I was running it into the ground. I was like, all right, we're just
Especially
gonna
by
take
yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh
hard.
my god.
yeah, and on top of that, I was like, okay, I'm taking a step back away from the music reactions. I told the channel, I was like, look, we're gonna keep having our concert premieres
Of
every
course.
other weekend, and we're gonna start doing classic rock concerts on Rumble.
Mhm.
Ones
Good
that
stuff.
get blocked, like ones that I
Right.
know
You know
won't
aren't
go
making it.
through. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna try to edit this. I'm not even gonna say anything about this on YouTube other than
Of
this
course.
post.
Right.
And that's
That's
kind of
so
how.
tough with all that
Oh
work you
yeah,
put in, though, right?
Yeah.
it's because it gets it on the back end. You never know if it's gonna go up and stay up.
I know.
Yes.
That's the
Goes up.
thing.
It goes up, and then you're like, yes, and then
Finally.
10 minutes, you're like,
And then it's down.
what happened? Like,
Yeah,
what the,
you're right.
That's so annoying. That's the
Soul
most
crushing.
frustrating thing because
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And maybe you guys have had better luck in this.
Right.
A lot of people that watch YouTube reaction videos, like they don't understand the stuff that behind the scenes, especially when you're dealing with music. It's very frustrating because there's like no guidance, no help, and every
Yeah.
channel is different.
It
The
does it
rules,
differently.
and that's the part that
They're all
blows
the
my
same.
mind.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you guys could get up something, I couldn't. I could get at
Right.
something
Yeah.
and you can't. And I'm like,
No
there's no
kidding.
rhyme or reason.
Rhyme or reason, exactly.
And I'm like, that makes it impossible for us
Yeah.
to help each other.
It does,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
At a very, because I always feel like you're not, we're not here meant to be like a speed bump. We're here to help others or get out of other people's way,
Of course.
And
I'm with you.
I want to help everyone in this community because the more the community grows, the more we all grow, the more better of an experience it is for the whole community.
100%, man.
You
But
know,
you're doing it right, like talking to other reactors. I think
Yeah.
that's the way to figure it out because
Absolutely.
the first reactor we really talked to was highly combustible.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was so open to what we needed to do on our end to make sure we don't box ourselves in, how to get out of copyrights and little things like that, that you don't even know are a thing when you first
Yeah.
go into reactions, right?
Yeah, because you're blind. You're just like, hey, this would be great. I like
Yeah.
music, and if I want to listen to if I want to have a discovery of this band, I want to do it in front of the people in the
Yeah.
community.
Absolutely.
Explore it with them.
But then you're like, oh, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot more complicated than that.
Absolutely, dude.
And it's frustrating that there's a lot of not all because I feel like within the symphonic metal and they've been very gracious,
Yes, they
like
have.
to let a lot of
Absolutely.
stuff through.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like my thing is that there's a lot of record labels that don't. They're very like archaic. They're like don't get it. They're like
Yeah.
we're not necessarily helping all these bands out with exposure because I don't know.
They think so
A
sometimes
lot of
though.
them that we've talked to have said like this is really great exposure because you're in North America and we're over here in Europe, and often for us to be able to get our music into North America, it has to have a
A
group to
pull.
then want to listen to it and have that kind of foothold in that location to be able to have that music go somewhere,
Yep.
where without having someone who is essentially a layman to say, hey, this is a great band, come check them out, you're
Yeah.
not going to get that cross the ocean
Yeah.
all the
It's
time.
it's you know, for me, I'll put it this way. Work like doing Nightwish was so beautiful, like so awesome. Like
Mhm.
it just goes
Yes.
up. Like I'm not even like copyright claim, no crap. Like that's your money. Yeah, hell yeah.
Of
It's
course.
not
Yeah,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that. It's about
Mhm.
watching it. Like get it up. Have it.
absolutely.
Let's at least
I
have
don't
it up.
care. Have it
Yes.
up. Let it go up. But then you
Mhm.
have bands like the Eagles,
I was gonna
right?
say yes.
The
Thank you.
Eagles, right? The Eagles, and they just destroy. They basically destroy new generations of listeners
You got that
Yeah.
right.
because of their
Like we'll
strictness.
buy their album and don't
Like,
like we don't want it on this.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's that's not the way. There's a lot of people, old heads, in this industry that don't haven't changed with the
I'm with
times.
yeah.
Whereas our symphonic metal community has really done a great job embracing. They haven't forgotten that the fans are
Mhm.
the that make the
Driving
bands,
force.
yeah, the driving force.
And a lot of
And
these symphonic metal bands, and maybe even Europe itself, are a lot more open to like changing and how things are moving just in
Yes.
general too.
yeah,
So, like I
yeah,
know Metallica's never given me any problems, and I thought they would have with like their
their
history with
history,
Napster and all
yeah,
that, right? So
yeah.
you just don't know who's going to really give you a pushback.
And that's, and like I said, that kind of goes full circle into the beginning. Is like you never know, you never
You never
know.
know.
And at one point, someone could just flip a crazy switch and decide
Yeah,
that's it. And
yeah.
then
Then
that's
your
like
channel's
holy crap.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no
that's
kidding.
terrifying. So that's another
Mhm.
reason I try to tell, I try to get at least our channel primed for me talking about Rumble, because Rumble is like a great
Yeah,
way to back it up. Just in case you
Mhm.
can't
of
see the
course, man.
videos, I can have the videos exist somewhere else.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I've had mixed results on Rumble, but it's a cool space. And I'm sure we'll talk behind the scenes after all this and discuss all the tips and tricks. You
Of
know,
course.
because if I feel like if I hit a branch, I don't want anyone else to hit that branch. Like
No.
try to avoid a branch as much as possible.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
um, but what? Let me see. I had questions, and that goes out the window, guys.
Okay.
Um, uh,
I have
let
a
me
good
see.
question.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay, so I'm wondering, do you have a podcast that you're going to start, or is this kind of just a regular video that's coming out? Because we started a
This,
podcast. We would love you to come
yeah,
on.
Yes.
of course, I would be honored to come on, man. That is always in the talks. I have kind of a live channel. It's called the
Okay,
Unplug Nation, and that's where I just go live, just live.
nice.
I try to do a podcast, but I have a lot of irons in the fire. So
Okay, yeah.
I'm part
Yes.
Yes, you do.
There's 9
of
there currently.
I am I am part of someone else's podcast. And pretty soon we will have
Wow.
more podcast type stuff on this channel, kind of make it, because what happens is, no one likes to hear me ramble. Like, and I feel like I would love to bring people on a podcast, and
Right.
have guests, and like that comes few and far between,
Mhm.
especially with
Mhm.
schedule lining up.
It's
I
tough.
would,
Yeah,
it's a tough thing, and especially if you
yeah.
throw artists into the mix, you're like, whenever's good for you, I'll
No
be
kidding,
there,
right?
you
Yeah.
know. And so it's hard to be like, okay, we have a formulate a show around me solo, just rambling on about stuff. So I have
I
to
get
like
you.
workshop it a little bit, And
Yep.
I at some point I would like to have more of these kind of talks with a lot more people within our community to bring it closer. Would it be a podcast? Probably not, but it'd be more of
Hey, that's fair enough.
like a free talk like this. Just kind
Of
of like,
course, of
hey,
course.
let's just have fun, show everyone that
I love it.
we're not on respective islands. We're actually
Absolutely.
all co-workers here, and this is it. Like
When I saw
we're
you
part of
had
this.
Tori, I was so happy. Tori's
Yeah,
amazing.
I
Oh yeah.
love her.
Oh
She's
yes.
phenomenal.
Oh yeah, she is awesome. And then I think on the 25th we'll have Old School Nerd on the
Oh,
channel.
really?
Cool.
Okay.
And let me see. I think he just surpassed 100K. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'm
Right
not sure.
on.
So, that the thing is I want to bring the community in.
Of course.
Absolutely.
That's because a lot of times on this side of things people don't necessarily know like our story.
Of course.
They
Yeah.
hear our opinion, but they don't really know who we are. They're like
Absolutely.
they hear our voice, they hear our opinions on stuff, and it's like they like it or they don't like it. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Or
But
they comment, stop rambling in the comments
Yeah.
section.
I love that. I love that. Like, stop rambling. That's all I know how to do. That's my superpower.
It's like, have you met me? I actually have ADHD. I can't
Yeah.
stop rambling.
I don't even know if this is reality. I'm just talking.
We're here though.
But we're here.
It was funny. I was talking to my father-in-law, and he's like, what do you do in your office? I'm like, I talk to no one. I talk to two walls in my office,
Yeah. Oh,
and I
man.
pretend that people are there. And I
Right.
hope that people
They hear.
watch. Like for a reaction, you're like, I hope people watch. If not,
Yeah.
I've just talked to this inanimate object behind the camera, which is the definition of crazy.
Oh my gosh.
My grandparents, because they're in their 80s and they're asking because they were curious about the channel, but
Yeah.
they don't really understand YouTube.
Yeah.
So Kyle gave me the best way to explain what we do with YouTube. And I told them, I said, we are independent music journalists.
Oh, very nice. That's a
Yes.
good way to
'Cause
boomerify.
what else are you doing?
I've said this to my father who doesn't understand what the hell it is. Like, you
Right.
do your sorcery, whatever,
Right, of course.
on your little world sin box. I'm like, all right, cool. I tell him like I'm a billboard for Google and I sell ad space.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's
Good
it's
way.
like that's what it is. I'm a
That'll work for a
subcontractor
lot
for
of people,
Google.
Yeah.
And they'll get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I break it
It's a
down.
bit of that too.
It
for
is
Yeah.
a
sure.
bit of that. Absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's pretty crazy because sometimes when you go live, at least my channel, I go live and you see the live chat go,
Yeah.
but before then, if the live chat doesn't populate and you watch one of my lives day of, I look like a schizophrenic because the live
no.
chat hasn't populated. And I'm
Right.
just answering random shit. And like, no one's asked it. No one's seen anything. I'm just rambling on. And I'm like, is this what I sound like outside of my office? I'm like, this is
Hard to
nuts.
hear yourself, isn't it?
It's nuts. Oh, it's
Right.
crazy.
I
I
have
hate
a
the sound of my
question.
voice. Yeah.
Do you ever rewatch some of like your videos often, or do you just
Premieres.
other than the premieres, or do you just like post it and you're like, that's good?
Well, early on when I was just clicking buttons and getting through stuff, right? I posted, I was so proud of myself. I posted 3 reactions, right? And none of them had audio. The
No!
music came through, but there was no audio.
Right.
And I
Oh
was
my God.
just miming
Oh,
the
that
whole.
sucks.
And like,
Yeah.
I can't hear you. It's like, it's not about me, guys. Don't you get it?
Right.
But yeah, that was and it happened with Winter Sun.
Oh, no way.
I was
That happened to us too.
Oh my God, that
Are
happened.
you serious?
Was
Yeah.
it, and it was also Winter Sun for us too,
Was
where
it?
we did.
It was Winter Sun. I have one Winter Sun where I'm just
man.
like, but the music was banging. You could hear the music. I'm just like this crazy dude with no volume. You know?
Luckily for us, so we've actually, some of the biggest mistakes we've had is we've done the no volume one. When we were interviewing Marcella Bavio the very first time, we didn't hit record. And
Yeah, buddy, you don't even want to know how that went. I'm still sweating. I'm still sweating.
She was gracious enough to like come on the channel again, so we made sure we hit record that time.
Oh no.
But luckily,
yes.
I have my 13-year-old who, when there have been times when we don't put the video up, there have been a couple moments where we haven't put the video up, so you can hear the reaction, you can see us, but
And
there's
just
nothing for
there.
the video.
Yeah.
But luckily, my 13-year-old understands technology way better than we do, and so we're like,
Nice.
fix this, and then he just sends it back to us.
That's
So-
awesome. That's awesome. You
so
should
it's
just
our
like
channel is a whole family thing at
I
this
love
point.
that. I love that. It takes the tribe, man. It takes a
It does.
tribe,
Yeah, it does.
you know? And you know what? The best part about it is like you'll never not hit record again.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that
Like,
will never
Never
happen.
happen
Ever.
again.
You're right.
like, okay, I don't care if we're using this. I'm recording now and we'll stay recording. Whatever it
We
is.
listen for like the little voice on Zoom to be like, your audio is being recorded.
Oh, that's nice.
What
That's
I love
nice.
the best though, because we talked about the family and how a lot of these symphonic metal artists are like also joining each other's projects as well, but they're all in so much community.
Yes.
When they found out Marcella came back, because we've also been able to interview some of like the other symphonic people, they're all like, Marcella's the best person there is, and that's a big example, and those are the type of people they are.
Yeah. And she loves Zelda, so you can't go wrong with that. So like,
man, I just don't. All right, I have a very old bone to pick. With these people that made Zelda. All right, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm not going to ask that because we're all gentlemen and gentle lady here. But what the hell was with the water temple for N64?
Oh my god.
That
I don't
key
even
thing?
know. I don't even know, man.
Did you ever play N64?
And I actually had to play that. I streamed it live, and I had someone literally guiding me the whole time.
Yeah, it's
No
that
chance.
whoever needs to be locked up. Whoever came up with that temple needs to be locked up. They need to check on him. I don't think he's doing good things now because that was a little bit too psychotic. I just purchased my son's 5 years old. We just purchased a Nintendo Switch for him.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he wanted Kirby, whatever. I was like, fine. And then I saw Zelda. I'm not a gamer. I don't game. I haven't gamed for a long time since Zelda 64, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, let me try this. And I'm like hooked now. I'm like,
you're hooked now.
I'm like, damn it.
Told you.
I'm like, no, not again.
It's as good as it gets, man.
Yeah.
I've watched Kyle play Zelda because I enjoy watching it. It's very beautiful to watch, but I have an unhealthy relationship with World of Warcraft, and I have since like 2004. So that's the only game I play other than The Sims occasionally. So that's like the extent of my gaming life.
Yeah, no, there's some vices. I thought I killed that vice, and I was very proud of it. I was like, I'm not a gamer, proudly. And then my son was like, let me get that thing. Let me see what this is. And I'm like, oh, damn it.
And it's portable now, too.
And now
so I was like, oh, man.
Like, you kids living in the future. Like, you just, like, oh, it's so easy for you, But, yeah, no. So Zelda. Zelda's awesome. I love Zelda, Super Smash Brothers, all that great stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have too much. I'm not a big gamer. I have GoldenEye N64 right there.
That's cool.
I have a lot of stuff.
N64, man. I love the N64.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then you have Perfect Dark, which was like come on, how do they not get sued? How do they not get sued by GoldenEye?
It was still fun.
It was a great game. But anyway, I feel like this could take a turn. We could just video game review. Like,
let's cut it.
But no, that's you've unlocked a new fear in me, and that's not recording. That's why sometimes that's why I make sure that's why I like our little platform here. It's like you can see it. It has a countdown.
I like the record button right there in the top corner.
The record. Yeah. It's great. This
is great.
Yeah.
And I'll teach you guys all this stuff.
Please do. And one thing I started, and I just wanted to bring this up as something that maybe you will want to do too. Doing a reaction with another reactor is really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you've ever tried that, but that's another way to learn the people if they've never been on your channel. It's like, here's them reacting. So if you like them, like, sure, you maybe like them talking, but let's see them reacting.
Yeah. Oh no,
right?
that's
Absolutely.
I'm trying to like bring people that I know haven't listened to this stuff
Yeah,
onto the channel
Mhm.
and get their reaction. Like I'm introducing my friend to
nice.
this, but I just it's tough because the people
So
that I follow and I'm part like in their know already know what the hell's going on. It's hard to
Yep.
find
right.
reach out to real life people, right? Real life out there, and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing on this date? Like, I'm busy. It's like, fair enough.
Okay.
Fair
Fair.
enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah.
point. But with this platform, I'm able to run our other channel where we do reactions. So
Right.
this opens that platform up to, or this opens this, I guess, way of doing things. So I could, hey man, just jump on your laptop. We'll do it. We'll have
Right.
a recording this way. We'll do a reaction this way. So that's what
Mhm.
I've been trying to do, but to no avail. Because
Right. Okay.
in my circle, everyone already knows this, knows the music I'm checking out,
Hmm.
or or they're just watching my channel. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it. Like, don't watch my channel. Don't watch my
Right.
channel. Don't watch my videos. I'm trying to
Okay.
introduce you to this band on my
Yeah.
channel. So
Yes.
that's the hard part. But yeah, no, I agree. And I love your guys' dynamic because
Thank you.
being part of a dynamic on YouTube, I understand the two-person like format. You miss stuff being an individual
Mhm.
All
looking
the
at
time.
something.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
having that balance, having that banter in between you guys, that's such a it's so helpful,
It's so
you
helpful.
know?
It's such a blessing, even in our own life, where we get to
Mhm.
talk and we get to learn more how we interpret, and that's even helping with our day to
Yes.
day stuff.
Absolutely.
So, like, I think what a lot of people like about our channel is honestly just the growth from us and seeing how much we've grown together. Because I started this alone, then she joined, and that's actually when we started blowing up, is when
Yeah.
Alana joined, because then it was our dynamic, I think, that they love the
Yes.
most. I'm sure I still got something good, but like the dynamic itself is definitely has made it so enriching for me
It's
too.
it adds a layer. It adds a layer of it adds a dynamic, adds to the dynamic of
Mhm.
the whole experience.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like it's just another layer that you can agree on with someone, and not just someone, but a team of people now.
Yeah.
You add and
Absolutely.
you're like, okay, I like these guys because they're seeing it from two different angles,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and they're formulating this reaction, their opinions, and it's just a more full experience,
It is.
you
It
know.
is.
And being honest, being solo, I miss stuff. It's impossible not to
Of
miss.
course.
You can't nail it every time, you
No.
know, and I don't have time to to nail it every time.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
And,
guys, this is
and
a
if you don't
reaction.
nail it,
Hmm.
exactly. If you don't nail it every time, they're gonna let you know in the comments, and they'll just push the algorithm anyways. So like,
Oh man.
I'm even
Oh
learning
man.
it's okay to not have to look so happy even going into it. Like you're
Mhm.
allowed to be yourself going into the reaction, then let it change you as it happens. And that's something I'm learning, and that's helping me in everyday life again. It's
Oh
I don't
yeah.
have to put a fake
Absolutely.
face on.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
channel, something the channel has done for me that I didn't even expect is it's starting to heal me from being in retail for over a decade. So
Whew.
I've
Stuff.
yeah, so I was in retail for over a decade, and so I really got that customer service voice down pat.
Man.
And coming onto YouTube, I like even before this channel, before we even met, actually, I was actually on Twitch trying to stream
Yes.
and
Yeah.
trying to find different ways of being able to provide for my family, which was at the time just me and Avery there,
Hmm.
and trying to get out of the 9 to 5 grind that is the consistent that it gets a lot of people into like YouTube and streaming and all those different aspects.
Yep.
um since being on this channel and being with the music and with the community that we have built, it's healing a lot of aspects that you never really thought were in your life that you've gone through in your own personal history, because I didn't really realize how fake I was being because of the customer service
Oh,
aspect of life. But
I
now
got
you're, yeah. And so it's been really cool coming onto this channel with the dynamic and being able, it's almost like a date night at times when we're able to come
Absolutely,
and
it
do
you.
is.
this
Yeah.
together. And then being able to have the dialogue of like, oh, well, what did you get from this? And it's like, oh, well, I thought it was this. And Kyle's like, oh, I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
this, right? And
I love
then
that.
the comments in the bottom, everyone's telling you like their own opinions, and then you are having not just dialogue between the two of us as the duo on screen, but then you're having dialogue with everyone within the
Yes.
community.
Yes,
So that's been a ton of
and they keep us honest. To be honest,
Yes.
They keep you honest, exactly.
Holy
right?
crap!
They can tell.
Don't try to get anything past them.
No,
You know, at
which is
all.
great.
Yeah, it's a great it's a great check and balance. They're like,
Mhm.
Yes.
you know,
But there's
no-
some anxiety that comes with that,
There's
like
a
you're
lot.
saying, right?
I can't read comments. I don't read comments.
Oh,
Oh, you
Actually.
don't? Oh.
I don't read comments because I have a very strong Scottish heritage, and I will come at you in the comments if I read the comments.
Nice.
So I'm not
Nice.
allowed to read the comments by
Got
my
it.
own self.
Got it. There are times where we have those you'll get those people that are just having a bad day, and
exactly.
you have to it's really hard. It's a lot of training and breaking of yourself to realize it's not your
Mhm.
fault they're miserable.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, that's
Yeah.
not a me thing, that's a you thing, and you're not paying me to fix a you thing.
No
You know,
kidding.
and it's
Yeah.
just like, have a great day. You're like, this is the word. I want to unsubscribe, and I'm like, bro, please
this isn't an
find
airport.
yeah. It's like,
Have a
find
nice
your
day.
happiness. Find your happiness. Thank God
Dude.
there's more than one channel on YouTube, or else it'd
Yeah.
be my tube and not your tube. You know, it'd be
Like,
different.
that sounds like an ish you, not an ish me. Have a nice day.
Yeah, I love that. And there's just you can't please everyone, because I feel like if you try to please everyone, you're gonna have the most blandest channel out there
Yeah.
Absolutely.
with
right.
no personality.
Absolutely.
I learned that from my top 5 bands. I was like, whoa, damn, I didn't know I punched everyone's firstborn.
What? Yeah. Why
Can't
did
believe
that go so bad?
Well, because
Or it's so
think
controversial?
about the people we've had on our channel, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And think about
Diehards.
the diehards fan base, what you want as and I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying you have your diehards that
Yeah.
vouch and pine for this artist and only this artist, and that's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
right.
But those people that are so eager, like, let's say, for instance, let's say the Beatles, right? Let's say I've never had the Beatles on my
Yep.
channel, never will. So, the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
But you close yourself off to the others, or like, hey, look, you're so ready to type Beatles as your top 5, right? That you don't really fully watch the video and understand the context of the top 5.
Totally. I get you.
And you're like, whoa, man, just relax. This is important bands to the channel that have shaped the trajectory of the channel.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Because I'm like, this is my top 5 bands that have been on the channel. My top 5 bands, and like, I'm not gonna make a top 5 and not include like Led Zeppelin. Like, what the hell, or
Yeah.
Deep Purple, or
Of
like,
course.
well, like, come on. Like, this is not obviously the top 5. This is
Of
on the
course.
channel that have shaped the trajectory.
Could I ask what they are if you remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
It's bands that have shaped the channel have been my number. Okay, I'll start from the top. I believe it's Epica was my number 1.
Really?
Because they opened the door. They helped me appreciate a whole different genre of music.
So cool.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, this is the rabbit hole that was open because of
Epica
Epica.
is what brought me to Enter the Chronic.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't for Epica, I probably wouldn't have been here, or I wouldn't have been here as soon.
Yep.
And I understand that.
And so, because of Epica, figuring out about Epica, I've discovered so many more bands, and I've been able to appreciate a lot more bands. And
Absolutely.
so that they took my number 1 slot. Number 2, we got Nightwish.
Yeah,
I got Nightwish as a number 2, not saying they're the second. It was like, this is my top 5.
So they're mad that Nightwish.
They're like, they're all number 1s. So like 5 number 1s. Oh yeah.
Go picks.
And then I picked Electric Callboy. That was my selfish pick because my son loves them and he sings to them, which is unfortunate because they have some selective words. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh, okay, but it's cool. So Electric Callboy, and then I had Love Bites, because
Nice.
they opened the door to the channel for all Japanese metal. They're
Oh
like,
my god.
they opened the door, and then you
Different
had
level.
everyone else. And
Yeah.
that's where I got flack. That's where I got my flack from that
Oh.
community. Is the either baby metal community, bandmade,
Yeah.
or you would have thought I just trashed them. I was like, no. You have to pay
Oh my
attention to
god.
what was said. And then
Yes.
my number 5 was Sabaton, because I never heard anything like Sabaton. Because I love history, love metal,
Yeah.
and I'm like, holy crap, I get to learn
Together,
Absolutely.
right?
like
It's the best. Isn't it so great?
yeah.
I
I'm
love
like,
Sabaton.
what?
They have
I'm
their
like
history channel.
repeating, I'm like singing along to their song, and I'm like, I'm singing history.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, I'm like, I just did something that my teacher tried to get me to do a
Right.
long ass time ago.
I learned more from this 3-minute video than I did through all of grade 9 social studies. What is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, pretty much. And so
They're so
that,
unique.
for that reason, I'm like, they are iconic, it's like, and because of them, I discovered like Tommy Johansson, Majestica, Sonata Arctica, like
Wow.
these
Yeah,
are like
yeah.
the different entry level rabbit hole ports that I
Absolutely.
fortunately fell down
Yeah.
into. Is so those are like my top 5 on the channel. And
That makes
honestly,
so much sense.
it's impossible to pick a top 5.
Yeah.
Those are just the 5 bands that have shaped what the channel looks like now.
I
You know?
think
Open some
the fact
doors.
you said that and those 5 are so up and are influential
Yes,
bands, and you were
absolutely.
mentioning that the community is so powerful because these fans are bringing us to these other bands once we first start.
Mhm.
You just nailed it there. That probably would have been in our top 5 as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe not exactly the same, but so similar.
Yeah.
So simple.
And that's it. It's just like, what band has led me to discover more bands, and that's what good music does.
Exactly.
It's like, good, like if it's bad, it ends there. That's it. It's done. We're not checking them out, or nothing goes further than that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
because these bands made on the channel and we liked them and the experience was so amazing, we've
Mhm.
discovered so much more. And it's
Absolutely.
and honestly, this is what another thing I wanted to point on as we just jump around from everywhere is everyone features on everyone else's stuff.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Look
Yeah,
at
exactly.
freaking
God.
Arion.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Everyone is invited? Like, it's
All
easier to
projects.
tell me who's not there. And
Yeah.
that's all 2 people that aren't there. Okay. But it's
You
everyone's
got
there.
that
I'm
right.
like, this is why I love this scene. It's
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
they support each other on different projects, which is unheard of when you
It is
leave
unheard of.
this scene.
It is.
You know.
It is
They're
entirely
building each
unheard
other
of.
up. They have
Yeah.
like metal factories and metal colleges in the Europe now, especially in the Netherlands, and like they're trying to build this moving
Yeah.
forward. And then, like you're saying, there's people like the Eagles that aren't even letting the new generation learn what they are
Absolutely.
about, and it's so
Yeah.
foolish.
It's
And I really love
ridiculous.
I love how everyone, like you're saying, everyone in the metal community is building them up, because I grew up orchestral. So I
Mhm.
played in concert bands and everything. I'd never gone to a festival where we all kind of played together as different orchestras. It was always competition. It
Yeah.
was never to build each other up. It
Yeah.
was always competition based. And so, like, I remember when we got silver and it wasn't good enough. Right.
Wow.
And so that's kind of like what I grew up with music, was the competition of the music, not the building each other up of the
Yeah.
music.
Gotcha. Yeah, someone always had to lose when you guys were performing. There was
Absolutely.
always going to be a loser, and there was
Yeah.
always going to be a winner, and
And you
that's
never wanted to be the loser. And so it was you were constantly practicing in the
Yeah.
orchestral scene because of that, versus in this metal scene where you're bringing in opera singers, you're bringing in growlers, you're bringing in orchestral music, you're bringing in these crazy guitars. We've even seen, like, we went and saw Dream Theater in concert, and Devin Townsend was there, and he had this weird thing, and I don't even know what it was, but he was like doing some stuff with it, and it was making more music, right, and just having fun. So, like,
it's here's a question I just had. You guys are in like up there in
Yes.
Canada, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there is there a big metal scene up there? Like,
No,
no.
not
do a
at
lot of people
all.
travel like near you guys, like when they tour?
No, honestly,
No.
there's not many bands, at least from those 5 you said, they ain't coming to
No.
Alberta. Like
No.
we are going to the Netherlands to see Epica. They're coming as close to Mexico, I think. I know they come to South America, but I
Yeah.
mean, there are some awesome bands that are coming, like
Yeah.
Insomnium's coming, Visions of Atlantis is coming. So there's
Elvete is coming.
yeah,
We've
Okay.
been to Dream Theater. But like when it comes, like Epica's not going to be coming to Canada. You're not going to see Nightwish in Canada. You're not going to see a lot of those other bands. Apocalyptica, I don't think ever comes to Canada. We
hopefully
don't.
Sabaton does.
Hopefully Sabaton does.
Maybe
But
they're
we,
doing a U.S. tour, right? Like
I
actually,
think so.
yeah, they're
yeah.
doing it with.
And usually, if like their bands are doing a U.S. tour, they might hit Ontario, they might hit Calgary, and they might hit Vancouver. But that's like heavy mites because we are so far up there, and we don't have a huge population up in this country either. So it's not like it's a lot of gas to get up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel that. I didn't know. Even though being in DC,
Yeah.
or near Baltimore, you would think that there's a big draw, but a lot of bands kind of skip the middle of the East Coast. Like you
Yeah,
hear
they
New
Yeah.
do.
York is the big one. New
Yeah.
York's the big one, maybe in New Jersey, and then you got North Carolina and Florida. And I'm
Right.
like, the hell? What
No
about the
kidding.
capital? You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, what
whatever.
are the right?
You know, I'm just saying,
Still.
whatever. But isn't Within Temptation? Aren't they Canadian?
I
Or
think
no,
they're
Unleash the Archers.
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Unleash the Archers.
Unleash the
One of them.
Archers is definitely Canadian, and
Unleash
Brittany
the
Slays
Archers.
is incredible.
She's from BC.
Yes.
She's from Victoria, actually, and that's
Victoria.
where we're originally from.
Yes.
God, man,
Yeah.
what a killer vocals. Like,
Yeah.
damn. But it's pretty crazy this world we live in.
It is.
Behind the screen, you know,
Mhm.
it's a
Yes.
lot more. I feel like, you know, the reaction side is just a percentage. You know, what people can see is just a percentage of
It is.
everything else that
And
goes
who we
on
are
behind
as
the
well,
scenes.
too. Yeah.
And all the planning that goes into it. Because I'll be honest, like if we're just talking about the analytics of the channel, Kyle does 90% of everything, and I make thumbnails, and I show up and I listen to music, and I tell
But
people
we
my
need
opinion.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But Kyle's the one who's doing all the editing. He's doing all the reacting to comments. He's setting up all the scheduling. He's doing everything behind the scenes. And there's so much of that it's like, hey, this is our office. This is where we have to work. And like when dad's working. So like there's so much that's that even when it comes to the perception of what we do now, and you would probably understand that you will understand this as well, being on YouTube, that a lot of people don't necessarily see it as the job because it's not the 9 to 5 at the random office.
Oh yeah.
But it is, and like since leaving Best Buy, I am working more now than I ever was with a 9 to 5. I'm just now with my family and able to pay more
Just
attention
active now.
and more active with everything.
Which is funny. This leads me into our little, the work-life balance
Yes.
is try to find it. You know what I mean? It's all over the place.
You
No
never clock
day is the
out.
same.
And
Never
no day's
clock
the same.
out.
No day's the
Yeah.
same.
Since I'm full-time YouTube. I think I've been
Congrats.
full-time YouTube 2 years.
Wow.
And so it's nuts because I'm home, but I'm not home.
Of course.
Yes.
You know, it's like you're an option.
Totally.
You're
Yeah.
always an option, which is the blessing in disguise, but it's
Yes.
also
Curse in disguise.
it's a
tough.
curse in disguise too. You're like,
Yes.
am I always available? Yeah, theoretically.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
that's the reason I'm not going to the office or doing something outside of the house. I'm here. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm also accessible, and that's like you have to have your prioritize what
Time management is tough.
time
man.
management.
Oh.
And it's like, what is going on? So that's been a day-to-day struggle, obviously, for me, is just getting up and getting things done, because then it's like, okay, do you abide by a schedule? Do you let things flow freely? And it's
Yeah.
like there's a balance between having to force something that you never
Yeah.
want to do and enjoying it. Because once it starts,
Mhm.
like, you have to respect it as, let's say a job. Because that's
Yeah.
how you have to think of it, you know, kind of.
Of course.
because it's more enjoyable than any job I've ever had. So it's hard for me to call it a job. It's like, but I had to put that in my mind because I've been so broken by corporate America and construction.
Right.
Like, I need to put this constraint on what I'm doing as jobs. That way I'm in the zone. Got to perform when I'm in front. And it's tough to have work-life balance, especially when you have all these, I call it plants that you got to water. You can't put all the water into one plant, all the other plants will die. You have to find a way to water all of them.
I've killed cactuses. I get
each one needs some different types of water and amounts every time.
Yes. Based on allergies, you know, some have water allergies, you know what I mean? But yeah, so it's finding that, and I applaud people that have the courage and guts to go out there on this platform, be exposed, knowing that this is on the internet forever.
You're right.
Forever, and will last forever. You know, and I applaud that, especially being, you know, let's say, you know, part of a family. You have your family, and it's like you're leaving more than just your words reacting to a video. You're teaching, you're leaving a legacy, and you're leaving a place. At least this is one of the very first videos. My first intro to this channel is I was addressing my son in the future if I do pass. You know, if I do pass, I'm like, look, this is to you. This is for you, never to forget my voice.
Wow.
This is here. You know, because this will last longer than us. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yes, it will.
And I'm like, so this is our legacy. This is you're talking to your kids possibly that might find you organically in the future, in a time when they need you the most, when you're not physically there. And that is something you have to remember. Build
that's huge.
A legacy, because then you have your kids that can always find you doing what you love, which is more of that's what I would love to see my parents do, is do what they would love to do and have fun.
Yeah.
And that's a great legacy. That's a great being a role model, leaving more than just that. It's bigger than that. YouTube is bigger than that.
You're being a great role model. You're a role model for me as a dad with everything that you're saying right now. It's so encouraging.
It's hard. It's hard. You know, I feel like we have a very our brand's damaged. So I love that when there's good parenting, good dad, you know, being good dad, good parents, the branding is terrible. And I'm like, I love people that support the brand and build it up. You know, like we're gonna turn this thing around. And think of it, you know, as a guide. I have a lot of videos. That's why I started my my stories to the nation, my kids stories channel, and you know, it's like a legacy. You're leaving your kids this, and they'll always be able to find it.
Yeah,
you know?
You're right.
Absolutely.
And it's going to outlive you. And then their kids be like, hey, you want to see what grandpa and grandma were doing back in the day on this archaic thing?
Right? No kidding.
You know, it's gonna and your voice will never be forgotten through generations. You know, and that's what you want, is like you leave a legacy for the future. And that's great.
That's a perfect place to end this, because we were talking about family and work balance. This has gone so great that it's gone to a point where I can now hear my sons are up and we got to get some dinner going.
No worries.
Legacy, I think that's something I never thought about before. And I really appreciate you saying that, and also just telling me what you do as a father. That's just so encouraging, man.
It's fun, man. Listen, it's been a pleasure. Anytime you guys want to come on the channel, you guys have the key. You guys know where the door is. You guys can come in whenever. All right. It's just not a question. You just hop on, give me a call. Like, look, we're going to come on. We'll talk about some stuff.
Cool. Okay. Perfect. And you'd love to come on to our podcast?
Yeah, man. Just hit me up.
Man.
Like, you have the contact.
Oh, yeah. I can get to
you. All right, guys. Listen, everyone watching from everywhere else, thank you so much for listening to us. Listen, Kyle, Alana, thank you so much. I will have all of your descriptions, all of your links in the description of the video, that people don't know where it is, but I will make sure they'll find it. And yeah, guys, we'll do this soon. And make sure you go check out Enter the Chronic. Like, guys, do yourself a favor. Go support them. Hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Anyway, guys, much love. Make sure you unplug and do something legendary. And again, thank you guys for hopping on the channel. All right. Later, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much, Dan.
Of course.
Okay.